night, wherever you are. Today I'm going to be doing a necklace with you. I've called it a Willow Ring Crystal Necklace. So we've got some lovely little pearls, we've got some beautiful crystals, and we've got some gorgeous large etched jump rings as well. So I think, let me just check, the jump rings that we're using are, there's two sizes, there's 12 by 1s and there are some 6 by 1s as well. So I'm going to create little clusters, little loops, I don't really know how to refer to them, but little components, shall we say, of those crystals and beads. And then I'm just linking them together. So you could do all sorts with this if you wanted. They would make nice earrings. You could make them as like a large kind of feature bracelet. I think they work best as a necklace, so that's what I'm going to do for you today. I'll take you over to the website very shortly and I'll show you all of the different materials that I'm using. In terms of tools, I'm using a ruler, wire cutters, jump ring opener, so 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. I think that's about it. Quite minimal and nice, easy make to do as well. So good morning to Rachel. She says she's in a cloudy, I'm guessing that's Barrow. Good morning to Jan, who's saying good morning, Natalie and Beading family from a miserable wet Sudbury. Good morning. I think, is Anastasia in somewhere? I can see Jan saying good morning to Anastasia. Good morning to Ellie. Welcome back. She says sunny and cloudy here in Kirby. It's overcast here. I'm in Prescott, Ellie, so not too far. But yeah, rubbish. But it's not raining yet, so that's good. Good morning to Emmeline. I hope you're well. Lisa's in as well. Elaine's in. Ellie says Scouse in the house today. Good morning to me mum, she's popped in as well. It's a family affair. Good morning to Kath. Hi to Tracy. Joanne's in as well, who says good morning to all. Cloudy, but the sun's trying to shine through. Our Camille's in as well. She says it's a chilly day. Heating came on, so it must be cold. Hope you're keeping warm. I felt really cold yesterday. I had the heating on. And then I went to my mum's and mum put the heating on for me as well. Just couldn't get warm. Got a shower and that kind of warmed me up a little bit. And I was like straight into my pyjamas and my dressing gown as soon as I could. So yeah, it's autumn's definitely here. So I'm going to take you over to the website now, show you the kits. We are totallybeads.co.uk. And here is where you can find all the tutorials that we put together every week for you. Numerous tutorials. So what do we do? 4 now? 4 tutorials a week. I'm with you twice. I'm here on a Monday and a Wednesday. So today is Wednesday. Head into the video tutorial category, or you can head into it here on the drop down menu. And today I'm doing with you the Willow crystal ring necklace. They're really, really pretty. Something a little bit different as well. Now I'm using wire with this to make these little loops, but you don't need to. If you don't want to use wire, you could use nylon, like a fire line. You could use a kind of cotton thread. You could do pretty much anything you wanted to form these, but I have put wire in because I think it's just easier to kind of form, and I feel comfortable with it. So that's what I'm using, and that's what you're going to get in your kit. You're going to get all sorts. So it makes 2 necklaces up, and they are £10.99 for each of your kit, which is going to make 2 of those necklaces. If you wanted, you could make a suite of jewellery with this. So you could make 1 necklace, you could make a bracelet, and you could make a pair of earrings if you had some ear wires in your stash, or you could make yourself a pair of ear wires. So you could have a full suite of jewellery, or you can make 2 necklaces, 1 for yourself and 1 to gift. We've got the amethyst, a rainbow clear, we've got the royal blue, and we've got the teal colourway for you. I think I'm going to demo today with the amethyst, just because I think it might show up a bit better on the mat. If you wanted to multi-buy these, you most definitely could. I think the teal would look really gorgeous with the amethyst. I think it'd look very autumnal. I also think the rainbow clear would look beautiful with the amethyst as well. The crystals on this rainbow clear are beautiful, really, really gorgeous. So I'll head in and I'll show you what you get for £10.99. You're getting enough to make up 2 necklaces. You're going to get your crystal rondelle beads, which are these larger ones here. You're also going to get your glass pearls, which are going to run around the outside. You're going to get your chain, so you'll get different chain, whether you choose the gold colourways or the silver. So we've got 2 on the gold, 2 on the silver. You're going to get your etched jump rings. So if I just hover over there, you can see they're really, really gorgeous, lovely etched jump rings there. We've got your lobster clasp and your copper wire. The copper wire is gold coloured in this kit. In the other, it's silver. You can't see it really at all. You can't see any of the, there's a tiny bit, I suppose, in the loop, but you've got to be really, really close to see that. It's a 0.3mm wire, which means it's 28 gauge, and I've put loads of it in your kit. You're not going to need as much as I've put in, but I've always liked to err on the side of caution. Find if you're using a little bit of a longer length each one, then you've got it's just easier. So we are using the gold plated chain, which is oval. It's really, really lovely, this chain. You've got it's like a figure of 8, so you've got your little kind of 8 loops in between those oval links. We've got 2 sizes of your jump ring, so you've got your 6x1 outer diameter here. You've also got those lovely etched ones, which are 12x1. There is your wire, and the crystals and beads we're using in this kit are the amethyst baby and the grape. So we've gone for kind of a purpley, very autumnal look here. There's 2 photos, but I'm pretty sure they're the same one. And that's how it will look when worn on the bust. So I'm using, you can change how many you want, but how many clusters you want, but I think putting it together with the 7 here is just going to give me that middle focal point, and I'm attaching it slightly different on that bottom one. So you can see I'm attaching the smaller jump rings with the pearls, and then there'll be 5 beads on either side of those ones, so it will sit like this. But again, you can position your jump rings wherever you want, and it will sit how you like it. I feel there might be a sneeze coming on, so do excuse me if I get a bit quiet. I'm trying to hold it in. No, it came and it went. Sorry. We've got the Willow crystal necklace in the rainbow clear. I adore these crystals. So this is on your silver colourway. I'm just going to scroll straight down. Oh, they haven't got a picture of the crystals. Okay, I'm going to take these out my bag and I'm going to show you them on the mat. They are the rainbow clear. They're just delightful, and they pair really lovely with the seafoam beads as well. So I'll get them out so you can see. So this is your silver colourway, your silver chain, your silver wire, your silver jump rings, the etch rings as well. If I hover over, you'll see, look at the colours in that rainbow. There are pinks, there are golds, there's greens. Oh, they're just so pretty. We love this colourway. So that one is your Willow clear. All the same types of material, same sizes of beads, jump rings, chain, everything's the same, just a different colour. This is your royal blue, and this is just so sparkly. All of your crystals are they've got that facet on them, so they're really twinkly, but some of them are coated with kind of like an AB finish as well. Even if these aren't, you've still got the twinkle on that facet, which catches the light and makes it look lovely. So you've got your royal blue on your crystals. Your crystal rondelles are 6x8mm, and the beads that I'm using, the glass pearls, are 4mm in size, and they're in your cobalt. So that's how that one looks. Really love that. I always love the blues, but I think all of these colours are gorgeous. And then lastly, we've got the teal. So again, this one's on the gold. So your teal and your like purpley amethyst ones on the gold, and then your crystal clear rainbow rather, with those lovely little kind of light green pearls are on the silver, as is the blue one. So you've got your, I say light green, yeah, Sorry, I'm confused. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking down on my mat. I'll show you what's in this one. So you're getting your crystal rondelle beads, your glass pearl rounds, which are your 4mm, your chain, your etched jump rings, your normal smaller jump rings, your lobster clasp, and your wire. And the colours we're using in this is the teal crystal rondelles and the teal glass pearl round beads, and that's on gold as well. So you can see just making these separate little components and then attaching them together. So they look like this and they sit quite pretty. Let me know in the comments which colourway do you like the best. Do you like the amethyst, the rainbow clear, the blue or the teal? And I'll show you them down on the mat so you can see how they look in the flesh. 2 necklaces in each kit and they are £10.99. Of course, we ship worldwide. You can change your currency to whatever suits you. So let me say good morning to Jackie and Carol. I hope you're both well. Amelia's in as well, who's wishing everyone a good morning. Sally's in as well. She's damp and chilly in Torbay. Joanne's loving the royal blue one. Hello to Anastasia, there she is. Good morning to Joanne. Anastasia says, Natalie, I've got a question for you about some coin crystals. I think they are the same size. They're too heavy for the earrings. Are you asking me, are they too heavy for earrings? Everyone's different, Anastasia, but I don't think they are. I should have some somewhere. I'll have a little look for them for you later, and if I've made a pair up, I'll pop them in. I don't think they are, because they might be on the larger size. If you've got them from us, if they're ones I'm thinking of anyway, because they're kind of like made of glass, they're not too heavy. They just look larger, but it's entirely up to you and your sensitivity and things like that, I suppose. Good morning to Julie, who's in. Anne's in as well. She's sorry I'm late, you've not missed anything, Anne. Debbie says they're pretty. Julie's loving the blue. Carol's loving them all. And Emmeline's liking the royal blue as well. So it seems like you've chosen. I wasn't going to do the royal blue. I suppose I could do a mix. See what they look like if I mix each one. I've got the amethyst out for now, so I'll start with that and we'll see how we go. But I'll show you them down on the mat here so you can see what each of them look like. So here at the end, we've got the teal colour here. So if I lift it up, you'll see, oh, sorry, just wobbled the camera. You've got those lovely faceted crystals, those teal 4mm pearls, and you've got those gorgeous etched rings as well. Hi Edward, I hope you're well. Not seen you for a little while. Hope life's treating you good. So that one is your teal colourway. I will pop that down on the floor, give myself a little bit of space. This one's the amethyst. So if I hold this up, you can see the twinkles and the colours on that. Really, really, really pretty. Kind of flashes of gold, which I think look really lovely with these gold etched rings as well. So you can see the markings on those rings. This is the one I'm loving today. This one here is your rainbow clear. Now, you've got the pearls on this one, which are your 4mm pearls, and they are in the light sea foam. So if I hold it up, you can see you've got the light sea foam, which I think just picks out the greens, but they are clear rainbow, the crystals. Look, you've got look at that one. So they're just lovely, really love them. If I hold, I've got the strand up there for you. You can see the gorgeous twinkles on them. Look at that. Oh, I love them. They're so pretty. I might just sit here and just twinkle them. Find that really soothing. Look, they're so pretty. All right, I will have to stop being distracted like a magpie. Look at them like treasures. Thanks, Angela. She says, completely forgot Monday as I was busy playing with my puppy. Oh, lovely. But here today, trying to watch with him bite my trousers. Carol says, well, that's gorgeous. Jan says they're beautiful. This one seems to be the favourite today. This is the royal blue one. Look at it. Look at that. They're twinkly too. You know, you've got to love a facet. Look how that catches the light. So you can see little bits of like gold, I suppose, in there. A different colour. Ooh. Ooh. I love a twinkle. So I'll pop that there. So you've got that there for reference if you should need it. Just twisted it round. Okay, so let's get making. I'm going to use the 0.3 wire, which is 28 gauge, there or thereabouts. And I'm going to take, I've said 30 centimetres per component. This is what I'm referring to as your component. You won't need 30 centimetres, but it's easier to just use that little bit extra. 30 centimetres is about 12 inches. So I'm just going to cut off on my reel. And you could do this on your reel as well, I suppose, and then you're not wasting any at all. Tracy says, love the nails. Have you done them yourself? No, I haven't done them myself, but they're not stickers. They've been painted on. They've got little pumpkins on them. I'm going for my autumn witch vibes, but I'm including the rain clouds and things. Okay, so enough about my nails. I've took, Anastasia says the blue's gorgeous. They're all lovely. Jan's laughing at my magpie moment. And she says, my youngest cat is called Willow. I called it Willow just because it ended like O sound. Sometimes I feel like I'm running out of names. So if you've got suggestions for something, if I find out the name meaning, then I'll always try and match it to the make. We did have a few little bits of a chit chat on YouTube the other day after my live, after I named the earrings. And I find it really fascinating to know the meanings of stuff in different kind of cultures and places. That was very interesting and enlightening. If you want to know what I'm referring to, there, go on YouTube and have a little look at the comments on the earrings that I did on Monday. So yeah, we are based in the UK. So I you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know, do you? So it's every day's a learning lesson. I've named these Willow. If you think I'd really like a make named after me, then if I've not done it before, message me and I'll pop it in the comments now. And then I write a little list down, and then I will make something in honour of you. So for each component, I'm going to use 5 crystals and 5 pearls. So I'm taking my 30 centimetres or 12 inches of 0.3 or 28 gauge wire, and I'm just going to slide on 5 of my crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can drop these down to the middle, or you can just leave a little tail end. It doesn't matter that this is central at all. So I think it's probably easier to have a longer length on one side, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to they will automatically just fall into the middle, but I'm just going to bring that wire back through one of the crystals. And then as I pull, it's going to tighten up into this little kind of cluster flower shape. And then I'm going to add on my pearl, and I'm going to add on a pearl in each of the little sections. So this is what I mean. If you've got a longer length of wire, it'll go all the way around either way. So if you start with your 30 centimetres or your 12 inches, you're going to have more than enough. I just tend to work off one side of the wire to bring it round. Now you could tie this off now, but I also find, because we're using quite a delicate wire with it being 0.3, I leave this one on usually just in case if I have any issues with this, if the wire, snaps or anything, then I've still got the other side to carry on with. So I'm just popping my pearl on, and then I'm taking it through the next crystal, just the one. I'm doing it quite slowly because I don't really want, lumps and bumps in that wire. That will just attach that on to the middle. So because I'm using the wire, I'm going to just make sure that as I'm bringing that back through, it's not going to bend necessarily. I'm going to keep it fairly straight as I add each of those pearls on. But if you don't want to use the wire, you can use your nylon thread with this. You could just tie a little knot in it. or you can use a thread. So I'm just popping that next pearl on, bringing it through and pulling it down. And if you pull on both ends, it tightens it up. So I'm going to be using 5 pearls just to fill those little spaces in between the crystals. Bringing it through, give it a little pull into position, adding on the next one. And if, as I say, you find that this bit of tail end of wire is maybe getting a little bit short, then you can just start working off the other side. So I'm only going through 1 crystal. Just pulling it through, and that will position that pearl in place. And again, you can use whichever side you want, so I'll pop one on this side just to show you. So your pearl goes on, and then you bring in that wire just through the next crystal, and then drawing the wire through, and you can position those pearls in between. So I've created my little clustered shape. Good morning, Esther. I hope you're well. She has no time for making as we're in the middle of decorating. Good luck with that. Come and do mine when you're finished. And good morning to Sheila as well. Okay, so why I like using the wire on this is I find it really easy to kind of tie it off. So to do that, I'm just bringing the end of the wire through the middle of that loop and around, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it round maybe 3 or 4 times. So if I hold it close, you can see what I'm doing. Bringing the tail end up through the little gap between the crystals or into the centre, and then pulling it round. And that's going to create a little wrap to hold that wire in place. Same on the other side, bringing it through the middle. So I'm bringing it through there, at the other side, and round. And I just need to do that a couple of times, and that's just going to hold everything in place and keep that little circular O shape, like so. Now, if you want, you can trim off your wire, or you can give it a little wiggle. Now, before I was doing this, it worked fine. So I'm just holding the end, and I'm just giving it a little wiggle round, and that will take the wire off. And that tends to take your excess wire off really quite close, so you don't need now to kind of be tucking it down with your pliers and things like that. If not, though, you can just cut it off as normal, and then just kind of squish it in and tuck it in a little bit. So I'm going to make 7 of those, and that's going to do for my design. But again, you can add more or less if you wish to. You're getting enough in your kit today to make 2 necklaces, so you're going to have plenty of your beads. My wire's got a little bit tangled and caught, but it doesn't matter. If you want to, you can leave it on the reel. So if your wire comes on the reel, you could, or just try it this way, or try it all the different ways so you can see what works best for you. So I'm going to add my 5 lovely sparkly crystals onto my wire. I'm just going to bring one end through the first crystal, or the last crystal, I suppose. And as I pull that down, that's going to make that loop. Now, if you've got a longer tail end, you can then attach your beads on that side. I'm going to just take a little bit here. So I'm not really even measuring out too much. As long as I've got enough to position those 5 4mm pearls around the outside. Camille saying green and red would make a pretty Christmas wreath. I agree, it would. starting the Christmas makes already. I'll be honest, I had loads of ideas of what I wanted to do over the Halloween period, and I've just not done any of them. And before we know it, it's going to be here. And then Christmas is going to be here. Now I just want to make sure that I'm filling in those little spaces. I'm going to pull that tight because I don't want this pearl to sit fully in between, to separate those crystals out. I just want them to kind of fill in the little corners, so to speak. I know there's no corners on it because we're making a round shape, but you know what I mean, I hope. Good morning, Jackie. She says, morning, everyone. Is it easier with wire? I'm struggling with, and then it cuts off. It's easier for me. It might not be easier for you. You might prefer to use something else. I don't think it matters, to be honest. You can do it with a thread. You can do it with your invisible thread, I think would work well. If I've got some to hand, I might try it with the nylon as well. But I've put the wire in your kits just because I find it's easier to just tie it off. I'll try it with the other just so we can see how it works. It's going to give it a rigidity with the wire, so it's kind of going to hold that shape quite easily. So just giving it a little pull into place. You know, you've got that kind of a little bit of rigidity with it, so you can still move it and you can kind of position it how you want it to be. With the thread, it's always going to be, your tension and tying off and things like that. So when I've made it, I'm just bringing it through the center and round. And I'm just going to wrap that a couple of times between the bead and the crystal. And that will be enough just to hold it in place. I think doing it with the wire as well means I get that kind of even placement. Whereas if I was tying a knot with a thread, I'd need that knot to, both ends of the thread to sit at the same point, and then there may be a tiny little gap between. But you use whatever works best for you. So as I say, you can either give it a little wiggle, so just wind it round, and then that wire should snap off really closely. Or if you don't want to, you can trim off with your cutters. Just check if you cut it, that little wire is fully tucked in, that end. It should be flat enough to not stick up between your crystal and your pearl, but you just want to make sure that if that's on the skin, there's nothing that's going to, catch or anything. Jackie says she's struggling with, is that threading? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Use the wire if it's easier for you then, Jackie. Just try it out. If you get these kits, you're going to get the wire in your kit. And if you find that you'd rather use something else, I'm sure you've got a different thread in your stash. I'm going to just do a couple more of these because it's pretty much the same until I've made 7 of them. So I'm going to go for 12 inches, 30 centimetres if I'm going to cut it off my reel. I'm adding on my 5 lovely crystals, and they're going to go on first. Should have made a couple up, shouldn't I, to speed us up a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the crystals going onto that wire, and bringing whichever tail end around. So it's just going to go through this one crystal here. And as I pull, it's going to create that little flower cluster. And then I'm going to get my pearls, and I need 5 of those. And I'm going to take whichever tail end that I want to work with, and I'm just positioning that onto the wire and then through that crystal. So at this point, you've still got the ability to kind of move those away from each other, but I don't want this to sit flat there. If I kind of close it in by pulling on one side, then that pearl should sit in between. Sally says, if you keep your wire on the reel, use a hairband or a tie to keep it in place. I usually, it's because it's just been in my bag. When I find the end, I will always, got kink in this one now, just pop it through that little slit that usually you get on the wire. But an elastic band is a really good suggestion. So I'll just get the end, and then that will hold it in place. It depends on the spool. So if I've got my silver sterling wire, that reel's not the same. It doesn't have, well, it does have a slit on it, but because of, I think, the nature of sterling, it's just a lot more springier. That often uncoils. And the worst is if it does it on like a half round wire, because if your half round kind of bends, it's just, you need to straighten it out again. But this is very forgiving, and it doesn't have to be, I'm not straightening this out as long as it's not got a major bend in it. So I'm just popping on a pearl in between each one and bringing it back through. I'll just keep that loop nice and large. Sorry, I've moved my camera again, so I'm not fully in shot. And then I can just position it down, and then I'm going to add on my last pearl. And then bring that through. It's not going through the pearl, it's just going to go through the crystal. And give it a little pull into position. Hi Nina, hope you're well. Oh, she had a dentist appointment. I'm not reading that out, Camille. And then I'm going to take my wire and I'm just going to bring it, so you can bring it through the centre. And I'm just trying to get it so it sits in between these two crystals here and between the crystal and the pearl. So I'm bringing it through. And if it comes right into the middle, and when I give it a little pull, it'll come back just here. And I'm going to do that a few times, 3 or 4. It's more than enough to just keep this all in its shape. Just bringing it in between. On both sides. Again, if I want to, I can reposition and kind of give it that shape and structure because of the wire. So you can either wind it off and it will snap, or you can trim and then just give it a little tuck down. So I'm going to make 7 of those. In fact, for now, I'm just going to do one more So we've got that V shape, but you can see on my samples, I have done 1 in the middle and then 3 either side of that centre. I like having an odd number because that will just give me kind of like a focal point with it, but that's just my visual preference, how I think it looks and sits better. So I am just going to move that wire out the way. So I'm taking my wire 30 centimetres or 12 inches, there or thereabouts, doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to take my 5 crystals and I'm sliding them onto my wire. Straighten that wire out, I would have got them all through in one go. And it doesn't, they're going to look exactly the same on both sides, so you don't have to worry about how you're going to position them together at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crystals onto my wire, move those up a little bit. I'm going to bring one tail end of that length of wire back through the one crystal, pull them down together, or away from each other rather, which will pull the crystals in together. And then I'm gonna add on my pearls. So take whichever length of wire that you want, usually the longest, thread on your pearl, and just give that a little bit of pull in one hand just to keep that shape in place at first. Sliding the pearl on, you'll see it's starting to loop here, so I'm just going to reposition the wire. It wants to turn. And then back through the crystal, next pearl on, through the next crystal, pulling that pearl down into position until we go all the way around the component. So we should have a pearl in between each and every crystal. So last pearl on, running through that last crystal. So I'm just using that wire. It's like a little needle really. And then give it a little pull in position where I like it to be. When I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to take the excess wire and I'm just bringing it through so it sits either side of that crystal in between the pearl. So wrapping around 3 or 4 times on one side. It's nice and secure. And the same on the other side with the other tail end. Like so. Trim off nice and close. And tuck in. or if you prefer, a little wiggle. So I'm going round and round and round until that end snaps. So I'm going to position my components kind of how I want them. So I'd quite like them when they sit into like a V shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my first 2 jump rings. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly to get my smaller jump rings in. So I'm using the 6x1 outer diameter. Hi Yolanda, hope you're well. And I'm just going to think about where I'd want them to sit. So my first 2 jump rings are going to fit on this one between that pearl and that crystal. So open up my jump ring, and then I'm going to slide it through. So you want it to go between the pearl and the wire. And then I'm going to close it up. I tend to find it's easier to attach it with the larger jump ring, so to open up the larger jump ring. So I tend to close these ones. So it's just going to fit between the crystal and the pearl. And then I'm going to close up that jump ring. So that will sit like this. Now for the others, I kind of want it in the centre. Now we've got them, so we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one side and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the other side. So I'll position it kind of in the middle. So you'll have like 3 pearls on one side and 3 crystals on the other side of it, if that makes sense. But you can position these wherever and how you want to. So again, I'm just going to open up my jump ring. I'm going to position it through in between. Just open it up enough that you can just slide it on through. And then close that back up. And then take your other jump ring and open that up. So I'm just going to start essentially creating a connection point so I can attach them together. So I'm using the smaller jump rings and just making sure they're closed. And I'll do that on each one. So if you're doing the design that I've put together, you'll have 7 of these little beaded components. Oh. So I'm opening up my jump ring by giving it a little turn towards me and positioning it so I've got 3 on one side of the pearls and then 3 crystals on the other. So just be cautious as you're sliding it on through. I want it here, so I'm just going to give it a little move with my finger. Where did I put it there? Sorry, not in shot. And I'm just going to position that jump ring on in between. I say just be cautious because sometimes it wants to kind of go around the pearl, and we just want to kind of catch it in between the pearl and the crystal. So, hi Yolanda, hope you're well. Jackie, what is the Cassia kit? I'll have to have a little look at that for you. If you're ever struggling with anything, you can always watch the tutorials back and drop me a message, and or pop it in the handmade group. You'll be watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook as well, we've got if you have a little look in the drop down links here on the video, where it says underneath materials that you'll need, it'll also give you all of our different like community pages and things like that. So you can always drop any questions or troubleshooting or anything like that onto those pages. Or if you've done something with a design and it's a little bit different and you want to show it off, you can share it there and we'll get in contact with you. And it might not just be, us. We've got a full group of people on there, so lots of other people may have made it too and be able to kind of steer you in the right direction. Just going to open that jump ring up. There's always one which is just a little bit fiddly to get in. So where do I want it? I want 3 crystals on one side and 3 pearls on the other. So sometimes I just pop it into where I want it and then just kind of bring it round with my finger if I'm struggling to kind of get it where I want it to. Because of the curve on the jump ring, sometimes can slip out. So I'm holding it with my less dominant hand and I'm moving back to close with my more dominant hand. Probably should be using my other pliers. I might find it a little bit easier. Okay, one more to go. Hi Brian, I hope you're well. Brian says, hopes everyone has a grand day. So just find a place where you want to put it. You could, if you want, where you've made those little wraps, you could position your jump ring over the little wrapped section. If you feel you've got a little bit more space, or you might want to cover up that little extra bit of wire. So I'm going to use 3 crystals on one side and I'll have 3 pearls on the other. You position wherever you want. I just think it gives it kind of like an evenness. So where I want it, if I'm struggling to get it on, I'm just going to position it over with my finger and try and guide it where I want, and then close it up. Okay, so 3 pearls. That would be the 3 pearls there. And I'll have my 3 pearls on that side and 3 pearls there. Okay, so I've added on my smaller jump rings and now I'm going to attach them with the beautiful etched ones and then attach it to my chain. So the ones at the end I'm not going to attach the ovals to. So if you can imagine you've got, let's move these down in shot. If you can imagine you've got another 2 of these up here, the last one will just go, this jump ring will directly go onto the chain. But for the ones in the middle, I'm going to attach my gorgeous etched rings, if I can show you them. They're really pretty. And again, they're the same on both sides. So you can, you don't have to worry about how they're going to be positioned and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the opening of the jump ring on these lovely etched rings. And because they've got that lovely etching, sometimes can be a little bit tricky to spot it. I'm just going to open it up like normal. Just give it a little turn towards me. And I'm going to pick up my first central component and I'm going to slide that through the jump ring that we attached and then through the next jump ring. And then I will close that back over by taking it slightly past the point where it meets, and that will close it fully. Now the only difference with the one in the centre is those 2 jump rings are going to be positioned here So I've got a pearl, a crystal and a pearl, and that just means it's going to hang more at the top. Again, onto the next side. I'm going to open up my jump ring, going to give it a little turn towards me to open it up. I'm going to slide that on through the jump ring, which is going to be in my centre, and then the next one along, and then close that up. And then take my next jump ring and do exactly the same until I've connected all 7 of my little pearl and crystal connectors together. So I'm just going to give that jump ring a little push up, just so I've got a little bit of space to hook on the etched jump ring to, and then close it over. And then the same on the other side. So just find where that opening is, little twist, and attaching those components together. I'll pop it on that one. And then I find that the jump rings should kind of sit towards the back of the pearl and the crystal, so it will sit flat. If it does like it's doing here, where it looks like it wants to twist, just reposition, give it a little flip, and that will make them sit like so. Nina says, I was finally able to make a Byzantine chainmail, so I've been making 4 kits from the Buddha Seer. I love doing that make, it was really lovely. It makes really nice earrings and necklace components and bracelets and all sorts. So now I've popped this together. Obviously in your kit you've got the room to do more. If you wanted to make a bracelet, then I would position those jump rings at the same point along here, so it would sit like so. It would be quite a large chunky bracelet, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And then all I need to do now is attach my chain. So you're going to get your chain in your kit as well. It's this lovely, it's getting to shot now. What's going on today with my camera angles? Do apologise. It's got these lovely like little figure of 8 kind of links in between those ovals. So all you want to do, I tend to find it's easier to attach it onto the oval. So measure out your 2 lengths of chain for whatever length that you want, where you want this to sit. You've got plenty in your kits. How much chain have I put in? I'm not too sure, but you've got loads there. You've got enough to make 2 as well. So you can either take 1 long length of chain and then you can split it evenly, or you can measure it out to whatever length that you want. All I'm going to do is open it up. So I'm going to cut the little 8. So you've got this little figure of 8 link, and I'm going to cut that rather than cut the oval, because I'm going to be attaching my findings onto the oval part of the chain. Can't see which one I cut now. I've dropped it. Be that one. Okay. So just give it a little snip in the centre, and then you can detach your chain from there. So you're going to cut two. I'm so sorry, I'm not in shot. You're going to cut 2 even lengths of your chain, so you're finishing on the oval link rather than the little figure of 8. So all I've done is just cut into the little 8 just to separate that out. I'm then going to take 2 more of my jump rings, and then I will be attaching that onto one end, and with the lobster clasp as well onto one end. And then I'll do the same on the other length of chain, but without the lobster clasp. I'll just finish with the jump ring to attach them both. And then this part of the chain here is just going to go directly onto this jump ring that's in your little cluster. So I'm just going to open that up again, slide the last link of that chain onto the jump ring, and then close it over and do the same on the other side. So it will look like that. So that's that. Obviously you will have the ability to make 2, and each of them will have those 7 motifs. So this one here is the royal blue on the silver. I've got this gorgeous teal, which is on the gold. The amethyst is what I've just made. And then you've got this rainbow clear with the sea foam. Just caught my pearls in the chain. So there you go. And that one is your sea foam pearls on the silver with the crystal clear. I'll take you back onto the website for one quick second because we've got a few minutes left. So each of your kits today are £10.99. That makes up 2 necklaces. There's 4 lovely colours for you to choose from. I do hope you like them. And thank you very, very much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Brian's asking what's the total length. It depends, Brian, on the amount of chain that you want to use, and then you can adjust that length accordingly. I think I have used 15 centimeters of chain on each side, so 30 centimeters of chain, and this is just on this sample that I've done. So that would be approximately 30, 40, about 50 centimeters. Don't ask me what that is in inches, but you can adjust the size of them just by adjusting the size of the length of the chain and change how you want them to sit. Your motif section in the middle, if you're using 7, will come to just under 22, right there. About 22 centimeters of just the kind of beaded sections, which is 8.5, just under 9 inches, and that's just for this bit here. Obviously then if you want to adjust, you just change your chain lengths that you're using. Rachel says lovely. Joanne was saying congrats, well done to Mina for mastering that Byzantine or Byzantine weave. Mina says, love this colour. Sheila says, very pretty make. Thank you for the demo. You're welcome. Ellie says, very beautiful, Natalie. Thank you very much. Emmeline says, thank you. She's going to order one. Oh, thank you very much. Jan Jan, where's your comment? Go on, Jan. Oh, she's saying have a great rest of the week and a great weekend, and she's looking forward to seeing me Monday. Thank you very much. On Monday, woo, gemstones, something a little bit lovely. So I'm going to be doing, pretty sure this is the make. I'm going to be doing some necklaces with you. I'm going to be using some gemstone kind of like coin discs, and I'm going to be using some wire to make some very pretty connectors. So if you can come and join me, please do. Joanne says beautiful colours, difficult to decide which to go for. I'm going to have to rewatch as a granddaughter woke up. She's almost walking. Gosh, how quickly does it go, Joanne? She's looking forward to finally having cuddles with the grandson at the weekend. So beading will have to wait till next week. I think it should do. I think you need to just prioritise, and cuddles with Babs always comes first, Joanne. Brian says very pretty pieces. Thank you very much, Brian. I hope you all have a really lovely week. I will see you on Monday, so take care, everyone. Stay warm, stay dry, happy beading, and keep making. I'll see you soon.